What's up, guys? You already know what this video is because you just clicked on it, but all it is a deep dive into the basics of video editing, and I'm going to be showing you how I came up with this video right here.
One more, need one more.
If this is something that you're into, make sure to like and subscribe because I'm doing this every single Sunday night live on Twitch where I'm teaching you how to create content through the power of editing in Premiere Pro. In this episode, I'm teaching you how to import footage, how to add music to that footage, how to create the content, and ultimately how to export everything. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So lesson one, what I always do in here is I build out my workflow first. So I start up with a project folder. So I'll make a new folder inside of the folder that I just created called project, right? And then from there, what I'll do is I will open up Premiere Pro. So when I'm opening up Premiere Pro, as you can see, when that opens, what you'll do is you'll start a new project. And when you start a new project, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this lesson 1. And that's just you're going to name your project up here, and then from there you go to this browse for your location. What this is going to do is it's going to put all your project files into one place, and this is going to be your path. So I always go browse, and I send that to the project folder that we just created. So project, choose that, and then I go to scratch disk here. All this other stuff we can get into in a different time, but honestly, I'm not going to bore you with that. And honestly, I really don't even touch most of this stuff. So I'm just basically going to tell you the stuff that I actually for sure am going to be always doing from start to finish. So general, you're good in general. Then you go to scratch disk. From scratch disk, what you're going to do is since you did that one location up here, it already automatically defaults to all of these becoming that same path, but you got to make sure that you just browse and then put it there, same spot every time. And what you're doing here is you're setting your cache files, you're setting where your render files are going, you're setting all your autosave, you're setting all of your audio renders, and again, that's all kind of boring advanced stuff that you'll learn about later on. But right now, you really don't need to know what all that means, but for organization purposes, it's perfect to be able to just put it all in here. So you just boom, pop that in there, and then from there your project opens up. So right here is where all of your clips, all of your audio files, all of your video files, all of your graphics, all of that stuff is going to be where all of that's going to go. So this is going to be where all of your project assets are going to live. This right here is your timeline, and this is where you're going to be working mostly. Up here is your program monitor, and that's where you're going to basically see how your project is starting to turn out. And then right here is your source monitor. So this is basically whenever you double click something out of your project folder or your project window, you'll see all that stuff up here in your source file, and we'll get to that in just a second. What we're going to do is I always try to make a folder in here. Anytime I have a project that I'm working on, I'll take all my footage and I'll dump that into my videos folder. So now I have a folder called videos, and I'll just dump all of my raw assets into that, and that's normally what I'm going to drop into my project window here. Sometimes what I'll do before that, just to make it a little bit easier on myself in the editing process, is I will I'll go through all of my clips. So I'll go through, let's say it's all my raw clips over here. I'll go through them all, and I'll watch them back. And I'm like, oh, that's a good clip, whatever. And then what I'll do is I'll right click it, and then I will I'll label all of those. So now that you see this is labeled. Sometimes I'll do that for myself just to kind of get ahead of it. But in this particular situation, I think it's best for you to just drop all of your raw videos into your video folder. And when you do that, all you got to do is drag your video folder into the project window, and then all that stuff will start to import. So that being said, what we will do is I already built a folder over here that has all of my video assets, and like I said, all I'm going to do, and there's multiple ways of doing this. You can right click inside of here, and you can go import, and then that same window will pop up, and then you can go to that same path, whatever. I find it's easiest for me to just drag that whole entire folder right in here, and as you can see, it'll start saying importing files. So this normally shouldn't take too long, depending on how much footage you're putting in. On the beginner level, you shouldn't have too much footage to drop in, but you never know. So that being said, from here, what you'll see is this. You'll double click on any of the you'll double click on any of these videos in here, and all these, like I said, all of these assets currently are just the videos right here. So that being said, we'll start going through the process, and I apologize if this is a little bit loud, because some of these clips, actually I'm gonna try and get past the clips that are super loud, because some of these projects, as you can see over here, that's 4 freaking.
We need recon. Send a flyover.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too loud. I can see my levels over on the OBS side, and it doesn't look crazy, but still, I don't want to blow anybody's eardrums out right now. So I'm going to go past the ones that have 4 audio levels. I'm going to go to the ones that have 2 right now and just start working from there first.
High ground?
So what we're going to do here is we're going to just basically just start going through all of the clips individually, and we're just going to find the best part of these clips. So in this situation, what I did was, what I have here is I have a bunch of different video clips that are 60 seconds long, but I'm realistically only going to be using probably about 5 to 10 seconds at the most of all of these clips. And I know that for the most part, that's toward the end of all of these 1-minute clips, because when I clip these off, it's normally right after I do something that I think is cool or highlight worthy, and I'll clip it off almost immediately so I don't forget. So that being said, it should be right around here that the action starts.
Oh, but my shit is still here.
Well, I'm getting shot at inside
this
building. I'm getting shot at
Inside?
Yep.
Wait, wait. Oh shit. Hold on.
Cool. So yeah.
Shit, my bad. I felt.
So yeah, that was roughly where it was at. So what I'll do in that situation is be like, all right, cool. So I ran up on this fool, clocked him a few times, whatever, got him, killed him, team wipe, whatever. What I'll do is I'll bring it to right around that spot, and then I'll hit I for in on the keyboard. I for in, and what that's going to do is it's going to start an in point. That's going to be your most important thing to know as far as like organizing your clips in the source file, is you want to mark your in point and your out point. So I'm going to write I for in right around here, and then I'm going to watch it back.
Oh shit, my bad.
And normally what I do, especially for these Call of Duty clips, is I always, if I'm going to reload afterwards, I give myself a little bit extra. Like I always just take the clip to the out point right around the time where I finish reloading, and I'm normally not going to use that portion of it, but sometimes I do, so I'll keep that. And like you can see here, this is a 6-second duration right here, and all I did here was to mark an out point, just like I did I for in, as I did O for out. So now it's in and out, I-O. Simple as that. Pretty easy to remember. Then what you do is, there's a couple ways of doing this, but how I do it is I'll just grab this video right here. I'm just going to click and hold, and I'm just going to drag it down to the timeline. All right, so now we have the clip in the timeline. When you drop a clip into this timeline, what's going to happen is it's going to create this little thing right here, and what this is that this is your sequence, right? So you can have as many sequences as you want. And what it's going to do is it's going to automatically default to the name of the clip that you dropped in there as the name of the sequence. Now, I don't like that. That's confusing. So what I do as early as possible is I will go through here and I'll change this to string out, that word that I used earlier. That way I know that this is going to be my string out, and then you'll see that this name right here changes to string out as well. So if I were to have multiples, what I'll do is I'll have this tab that says string out. Later on, I'm going to make a tab called assembly. And then if I wanted to make different versions, different sizes, I'll normally call it like assembly 1080 for like a YouTube, or 1350 for Instagram, or square. And I can have sometimes up to 10 to 15 different sequences here, but on the early stages you should only have one, and it should be called string out. When you start doing documentary stuff, I normally do stuff called B-roll string out, and I'll do another one called sound bites, and that's normally for like interviews, or I'll just do one called interview A, B, 1, 2, so on and so forth. But for these quick little montage videos, you shouldn't have too many. It should just be string out, assembly, and then if you're making ones that are different sizes, then you can have them basically duplicates, but just different sizes. So anyways, moving on.
Oh,
Boom.
shit.
You got that in and out point. Now this is a 60-second clip. We only took 6 seconds from that. So cool. We got that. That being said, we'll move on to the next one. And this process is what I call stringing out. I'm stringing out footage right now. I'm just stringing out all the best footage of all of the clips that I have. You know, you can call it trimming the fat, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But I just my ultimate goal is to make sure that this timeline is full of only clips that are usable clips in the final product, right?
Look.
You fucking bitch.
Another
Whoa,
one.
that was rude. Another rage kill. I always like those. So that one was right at the beginning. So there must have been. Now that I think about it, the reason why this was at the beginning is because still at the end of this clip I got another kill. So it just happened to have 2 kills within a minute. But still, that works out for us. So that being said, I'm just gonna go back like we learned. Hit I for in. Oops. I for in. Right. I'm gonna do it right before I jump the wall. So I for in.
You fucking bitch.
Another one.
Excuse that person's language. I do not endorse speaking like that. Just to be clear. Out point, and then you're just gonna drag. Like I said, you're just gonna drag that clip right down to the timeline. So now what we got is this
Shit,
kill,
my-
and then it just butts up against it. Now you got this kill. Cool. What I'm doing here, by the way, if you're wondering, like, why do you keep on going back over here? I'm basically just trying to find my place, because there's a lot of clips in here, right? And if I were to go off and click away from it, you'd be like, oh shit, where the hell was I just at? A good way to find your way back, a good quick tip, is to go back to your last clip, right click it, and then go down to reveal in project. And then when you reveal it in project, it's going to show you exactly where this clip was at, and that was normally in sequential order right here. So if you're going in sequential order, the next one is going to be right under it. Or clip off those buffers, and I have it set to them. So in this situation, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit that little squiggly button that's right under the escape key. I'm not really exactly sure what it's called. Cal, what's up, bro? Cal's in the building. Yeah, man, that's what we're here for. You need to get more organized with your editing. That's what we're here for, man. I'm trying to teach you guys how to be a little bit more organized, and hopefully so far this has been helpful for you already, and you'll see later on why it's so helpful. So anyways, if you hit that little squiggly button right here, you'll go full screen on any of the windows that you go to. So this is going to be your program. If you hit that squiggly button, boom. If you hit that squiggly button on your timeline, that'll go full screen. If you hit the squiggly button here, this will go full screen as well. So that's a quick little tip as well. But I'm going to go full screen on this one just so I can show you guys this one. This is kind of funny. So basically, there's a bunker here where you have to have your red access card for in order to get into this place. And we see on the map that there's a car right here, right? And I'm like, what the hell? Here, I'm going to go to full resolution on this. We're like, what the hell? Where is this car? I thought that we all think that it's like up here or whatever. And then I hear Tony yell out that they're inside. And then I start to hear it. So I'm like, all right, cool. Now what they don't know is I got a grenade launcher. Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. That's how that happens. Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. And that's how that goes down. And that's how you get a quad feed in Warzone. And also another thing that's good to know, when you hit your in point and your out point, if you hit up and down on your keypad, it'll go snap to your in point. Like let's say you're at the beginning of the timeline, right around here. If you hit down on the down arrow on your keypad, it'll go directly to your in point. If you hit down again, it'll go directly to your out point, and if you hit down again, it'll go to the end. So that's a good one to know as far as if you lose your place or whatever. So now we have our in and out point set on that. What do? Drag it down. So now we got 3 clips here. Boom. Again, I'm going to go back, reveal in project, because I don't remember where we were. And basically what we've learned at this point is go through your clips, right? Have your video. If you really want to get a little more organized, which you should, make a new bin within here and call this sequences, because we have a sequence in here, and I tend to have a bunch of random shit in this project window, but realistically I should be always making sure that I have a folder for everything. So we're going to drop this sequence in this sequence folder. That way we have those organized, and when we have everything closed up, you can see it's nice and tidy here. So is it easy to add the music over any clip? Good question. We're going to actually be getting to that soon, and the quick answer is yes, it's very easy to do that. So, but we're going to get to that shortly. That being said, you guys kind of get the gist of what we're doing here, right? All we're doing is going through the clips, finding the best clips, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips here, and whenever specifically, when I'm making one of these like Call of Duty montage highlight clips or whatever, I try to have 20, 25 clips that'll span to about 6 minutes sometimes anywhere between like 3 and 6 minutes for like a 1-minute montage video. And so that being said, I'm not going to bore you guys with this whole process, because we'll be here all freaking night if I did. Yeah, I'll save this just in case. I went ahead and did all of this already, so we can move forward to my project folder that I've already created. And as you can see in here, I've got my music, I've got my project folder, and I have my video. The video has exactly the same thing that I just showed you, what we just imported. The music has only 1 clip in here, and again, we'll talk about that shortly. Actually, that's probably going to be the next lesson, is the music. So perfect timing on that, Terp. So let's go to the string out. As you can see, we have this string out, right? So now, like I said before, we want to have roughly about 3 to 6 minutes of clips. And in this situation, we have almost exactly 6 minutes of clips. 5:54, just for fun. And when I'm saying 5:54, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm saying it based off of this number right here. It's this number right here, and this is the duration of the project, of whatever your in and out point is in here. Is this number right here. This is your minutes, seconds, and frames. And because it's so close to 555, I'm going to go ahead and just make that happen. Let's start to talk about how to bring in music. Now, as you can see, I already have my music folder already brought into the project. I'm going to make another... actually, no. In this situation, I'm going to bring my music onto the same timeline as the string out, because ultimately what I want my string out to be compiled of a bunch of assets that I can pull down into my assembly project or a timeline later on. That everything that comes from the string out is going to be stuff that I can work into the assembly, because though all of my assets are in my project window over here, over in this area, I don't want to be relying on just dragging stuff from over here, because that kind of shit gets hairy. So that being said, I'm going to bring my music into my string out. So that being said, let's move forward to the music. Now, I found this track that It's kind of an epic, kind of like movie trailer track that has, you know, like a cool beat or whatever. Hopefully you guys can hear that. Let me know if you guys can't hear that. You should be able to hear that though. And I'm just gonna, what I do is I just listen to it through, and I'll tell you what I'm looking for in these clips or these music files. What I'll tell you I did like off top is this little drop in the music. This right here. And let's actually go full screen on this. And also I'm going to change my, there we go. I'm going to change that so you can actually see the waveforms. So I'm doing the same exact thing that I'm doing with the audio that I'm doing with the video clips, but now we're seeing it in a waveform instead of in a waveform is just seeing all these lines. Instead of seeing the video, you're seeing it in a waveform. And I always look for these types of situations because I can get creative here. I can get creative here, I can get creative here, and obviously I can get creative here. But what I like about this particular track is it has a couple of drops at the end, which normally, if you have these situations, that normally is like a good place for you to be able to just like end the video off clean. And it gives me 2 options right here, which I like. Actually, shit, it gives me 3 options because that's another sting at the end. And the sting is basically like when you hear like at the end of like a movie trailer, it goes like, and like it kind of just like dies out. Like that's a sting. That was a very poor impression of a sting, but you get the gist of it. Anyways, so this is the type of stuff that I'm looking for, is this drop right here. And then that kind of breakdown. I don't like that like electronic sound. Like right there, it didn't have the electronic sound, so if I were to want this area, that's where I would keep it. That's cool. And like I said, something like this, 35 seconds to 60 seconds is what we're looking for. And we don't always have to just start from, you know, 0 and go to 60 seconds. We can get creative in here because we can do whatever we want with the editing software. Sometimes you get lucky and you just find a nice clean 35 to 60 seconds that work, but sometimes you got to get freaky. And I think in this one, it's going to give us a nice clean 60 seconds without having to get freaky. I like this part because it's not too intense. Okay. So this is too much right here for what I'm doing. This, like from this point, I can tell you right now that's too much. But everything before that was solid. I thought that was all solid. Like, it's a good build. It's not too crazy for what we're doing here. It gives us a lot of opportunities to be able to build. So I'm gonna go, as you can see, I'm hitting my in point, and I made my out point here. And as you can see right here, that's 58 seconds. So that's kind of like a solid little clip. And I'm basing that off of this little lull that I see right here, and then this one as well. So I'm thinking I could probably start here and end right around here. Yep. See, like, let's say, like, this is, obviously I need to clean this up a little bit, but I can probably start here. Maybe come back a little bit. And all I'm doing right here, if you hear that sound, I'm just going left and right on my keypad. and then I'm hitting my endpoint once I find roughly where I want. And like I said, that's 58 seconds. So I'm gonna roll with that. I'm cool with that. So Terp, to answer your question, all you have to do at this point is you grab this little waveform right here. Yeah, Lake Show baby, let's get it. City's going nuts right now, Eric. I don't know if you've been seeing anything online, but it's going nuts already. So what you do is you grab this little icon right here that's a waveform. It says drag audio only. You grab that, and all that's going to do is it's going to pull whatever's in your in and out point that we created in this song, and you're going to pull that down to the timeline. And as you can see, you have your video layer, and then you have your audio layer. As you can see, V1 and A1, that's going to be your video layer, and that's going to be your audio layer. This only has to be on your audio layer because that's your music, right? So anyways, what I'm going to do in this situation, if I want to start to build out a second sequence for assembly, is I'm going to take this same string out, and I'm just going to duplicate this sequence. And what I mean by that is all I'm going to do is duplicate this string out. I'm going to right click it, and I'm going to go up here to duplicate. I'm going to duplicate that. Boom. Now what you can do is you can rename this to assembly. How you spell assembly? I don't know, but I'm just going to make that. Boom, assembly. So now we have a string out and assembly, and as you can see, they're both exactly the same thing, right? String out, assembly, exactly the same thing. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull this string out up here, and pull it up to when you see this little purple bar. All I'm doing is I'm basically just putting this sequence somewhere else, and where I want to put it is right above the other sequence. So now I have two sequences right up on top of each other. And this is just going to make it easy for me when I want to start pulling things down to my assembly, and start baking my cake. So now that I have my assembly, there's a bunch of this stuff in here. I'm just going to select all by holding Command A, and I'm going to delete that shit because I don't need none of that, because that's not what this is going to look like. This string out should look like this. The assembly should look nothing like that. That being said, I'm going to go pull this music down here because this is where we want our music. This is essentially what the video is going to be. Is going to be music and images. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put down the music, and we're going to start kind of going to the beat. So what we have now is this. ASSEMBLY. Alright, perfect. I did it correctly. Thank you, sir. So this is what I do. There's multiple ways you can do this, okay? What I do to lower the volume is I right click it and slide through, Terp. Slide through. Please do. I would love that. You right click the clip, and then you go to audio gain. And if you've done anything in audio production, or you know anything about post production, gain is basically bringing your volume up and down, but it goes by decibels. So decibels are a scale of how we hear things. Volume being 0 to 100 is not necessarily the same thing as decibels. Decibels are two different things, but in this situation, I always try and bring the music down to like -15 to -25, depending on how heavy it is. For now, I'm going to do -15. That way I can still hear some of my audio from my clips, because I'm going to still want to hear these. I'm going to want to hear all that stuff. And mind you, this shit is loud as hell too. So I'm going to do the same thing to these. I'm going to highlight all these. I'm going to right click it all. I'm going to go to audio gain. I'm going to bring this stuff down by 8. And it's probably still going to be loud. No, it's not too bad. And how I know it's loud is by this right here. If you see that shit start to get to the red like this, like when it starts to get up there, when it starts to get up here, that's peaking. And when it's peaking, that means that it'll blow your fucking speakers out. And you do not want that. You want it to be right around -12, -6 is like a good sweet spot. When it starts to get yellow over here, that's kind of a good sweet spot for you know, where you want it to be when you're like on Instagram and you're sliding through and you see videos. You don't want your video to be like ridiculously loud, because all I'm gonna do if I see a video that's way too loud, I'm just gonna swipe right through it, because I'm freaking disrupting everybody around me and my damn ears. So keep that shit low. We're going to find some of my favorite clips and start dropping them in. I really like this one. Off top, I see this.
There you go. One more, do one more.
So I like that one because, like I said, I'm not a very good sniper, but if I get one off, I'm happy about that.
There you go. One more.
Okay, so I see I broke his shield right here, and all I'm doing is I'm backing up to the point where I broke his shield. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blade tool, which is, blade is B. I'm sorry, shit, blade is C, my B, C, but your blade tool is C. I'm going to make a cut right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it play.
One more.
And then I'll go after I say the B word. So, boom, I'll drop that in one time, and I'll see how that feels. But I don't really know if I want to start the video that way, but I do know that I want that clip to be in there. So
There you go.
I think I want to start the video with the grenade launcher. I think that's going to be fun. So to sift through these. Okay, cool. Grenade launcher in hand. Okay, cool. So I like that. So I'm going to cut that there, and I'm going to put that at the beginning, and then I'll line it up with the music at that point. So so if I know this music, like we just kind of went through this music, so I kind of know the music. I think that I want my music to go with the beat of this clip, and I kind of want it to be when I hit this part. That right there, I want it to be right as I finish like unloading on those fools. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in on this by just kind of pinching, like I'm just like doing that. If you have a mouse, you can probably use the roller, or you can also hit plus and minus on your number on your next to the delete button. So plus and minus will go a little further in. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of looking for that audio mark. Like I'm kind of like just visualizing it. So that little hump right there. See this hump right here? This little humper do right there. That's going to be your drop. So what I normally do is I'll make a little cut there. I'll just grab my blade tool and I'll go cut. And then I will do the same thing where I want to. This is if this is confusing, I apologize. But it'll make sense to you at some point. And hopefully, when I'm finished with this particular spot, it'll make a lot more sense. But what I'll do at this point is I'll make it to where as soon as I unload on them and I want it to be to drop, that's where I'll make a cut in this clip.
They're inside.
So like right there is probably where I want it to be. So now what I'll do is I'll line those two lines up. I'm gonna hold on a second. Let me get this out of the way, and then I'll back this all up so that we're keeping it clean. So now if we're starting from here,
They're inside.
So you can't really hear it right now because this explosion is really freaking loud. But so that being said, what I'll do is I'll turn this down to like another negative. What is it? -8 right now. I'll do like a -10 just so that we can kind of understand what's going on. And then I'll bring up the audio on the music by like 6 +6. So now we're at -9 decibels. I'll do the same thing on this side too. 6. So as you can see here, this is kind of a happy accident. And that's going to happen a lot when you're doing this type of stuff. Is that how the beat goes? Is it goes like dun 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 dun, 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 dun. At that dun 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 dun, the beat kind of goes to the way I'm shooting the grenade launcher, and that's kind of cool.
Inside, they're inside.
So cool, we got that. And then I'm gonna cut there. So, which I can obviously use my cut tool, cut that, use my arrow tool by using V. V is gonna go back to your arrow tool. And also, if you don't remember this stuff, you can see all these tools over here. The main ones, realistically, that I always use is this arrow key and this blade key. And like I said, well, it's called a razor tool. And then this is called a selection tool, but I call it an arrow and a freaking razor blade. So, that being said, I'll take my razor, make that cut, take my cursor, my arrow, and then I'll just select it and boom, delete that.
Inside, they're inside.
Cool. We know we have a drop there, so like I like to try and do stuff. Maybe we bring back this clip right where I get the down on this clip.
One more, do one more.
Right? That down as he's coming down. So if we look at this clip,
One more, do one more.
I'll make a mark right on that down. I'll get my blade tool, cut that, and then I'll do the same thing on the drop. Right there. See if that works. And like I said, I'm just making those cuts and I'm using them as marks. Now you can do other things, like you can use marks. There's marks in the timeline, and all you gotta do is press M for mark. And as you can see, we see this M pop up, this marker pop up. That's by hitting the M key on your keyboard. And then if you hit M again on that marker, it brings up this this thing that allows you to kind of like create some metadata and such. So I can be like marker 1, and I can make it fucking red if I want to, and then I hit OK and it's red, and then when I hover over it, it says marker 1. I don't like using markers too often in my thing because it starts to get a little bit cluttered when I see too many of those. So I'm gonna clear, oh shit, not the in and out, that's not what I meant to do. I'm gonna clear the marker, and another way you can do that is just press M on it again and you can delete this marker. So let's see how that clip worked on that snipe here.
One more, do one more.
Yeah, I expect it to be a little bit tough, but you know, if I need to bring it down a little bit, I can do that as well.
One more, do one more.
See, so like that's kind of cool. So if I were to put a clip between these two, that could be a cool little sequence of video. So let's have it start like right as you start to see the four-wheeler, and then once you start to hear the minigun start to rev up. So it's like right about here. So quick little clip. What's up, Marty? How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully, oh my gosh, and look at how ooh, it's so close. It's so close. We can probably finesse this a little bit. Let's see what happens.
Inside, they're inside.
Go. One more, do one more.
I mean, that already works. Like, I'm cool with that. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll find a spot in the music that I think that I can get creative with, and I'll move to that point, and I'll kind of build around that. So, let's go to that. This little, like, boom that we hear in the music. Let's go to that. What can we do with that doom? Maybe let's see what we can do with that.
It's a whole nother team.
Let's do this. Let's put this freaking rocket on this dude right at that boom. Like right doom. Let's do it right there. Cool. Let's do that. And what I'll do here, I'm gonna make a cut right as you can see. You see this rocket coming out? Right as I see this rocket coming out. Oh, what the hell? Right when you see that rocket come out, I'm gonna make a cut right there in this clip. And then I'm gonna drop that clip right where I hear that doom. And I'll even do like I've been doing. I'll make that cut. Cool. So I'll drop that thing in there. Drop that thing. Cool. I like that. And then I'll just drag this back a little bit. Just for a second. You see that? You can kind of hear it like doom at the same time. And we'll adjust the audio levels later. Like the audio doesn't sound great right now. It sounds a little bit like it's kind of hard to hear the music as well as the the audio from the clips. It's kind of hard right now, but we'll do all that stuff later. And realistically, we'll probably do that on another lesson because that's a whole other aspect of things. But right now we're just talking about how easy it is to be able to just drop music in and just be able to build around that, right? Well, that's realistically all we're doing right now is building around the music track and creating something around that. We're not really going to focus too much on like how to level it all out, how to make it sound perfect. Like I said, we'll talk about that on a different lesson. But for now, I'm talking about how to drop clips on it, and then we can get a little bit freaky as far as timing it all out. So I'm probably going to start it like right here. Cool. I like that. And then what we can start doing is just filling out this gap right here. We'll fill out this gap, and then we'll move on. We'll move on to the. We'll fast forward to what this will end up ultimately looking like, because I don't want to sit here and bore you guys with redundancy. So let's fill up this gap right here with another clip. Maybe we throw that snipe in there. I like this. I like this helicopter kill. This is a fun one. Cheers, brother. Here goes my J.R. Smith cheers. Go Lakers. And just because, Kobe. I'm going to put the munch moment right here.
One more, do one more. I'm getting munched.
I'm going to bring it over here.
I'm getting munched.
No, I don't like it there either. Maybe I'll butt it up against this.
I'm getting munched.
I like it there. That's cool.
Yeah, fair.
I'm gonna break it off right here. Right as he's swinging around, and I hit him with the right shield. Boom. Take that. I'm gonna drop it in right here, and then I'm gonna wait because I know I kill him or I down him as well on this.
What?
There you go. Boom. And I'm gonna break it off here as well. Boom, downed him. I'm gonna butt those up against each other. Shoot, sorry.
One more, do one more.
Cool. Man, let me put a bird on him one time. Let me try to find a bird clip, man. Where are my bird clips at? People in the chat right now are like, what do you mean put a bird on it? Oh, you about to find out what I mean by put a bird on it. That's what I mean by put a bird on it right there. That's what I mean by put a bird on it. So I'm going to put a bird on him one time. I might not have room for it in this spot, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. It's probably too much, but we'll make it work. It's a little too much. Let's see if it works, though. Hold on. Oh, that works. That works. I'm fine with that. Let's see what we got here. Let's run it back one time.
One more.
I'm getting munched.
I think that's solid, man. I think that's solid. So I mean, that right there, that's half the video. As you can see, if this is the full video at 58 seconds, it's at 1 minute and 52 frames. So if you were trying to get it under a minute, you got to get rid of those 52 frames and figure that out. But we're not going to worry about that until the end. But we're about halfway through this video. So that being said, after what we just saw, we'll go to the next project, which is basically just a fast-forwarded version of what we have here. So that being said, let's fast forward to this. Now, this is using essentially the same clips that I use, but we have now 1 minute, fully 1 minute of this assembly all built out with music. I'm not sure if it's mixed or not, but this is what we have.
Inside, they're inside.
One more. Need one more.
Doug.
Hey, fuck.
I'm getting munched.
One for white. Take a shot. Oh, this shit, Jake.
Broke him down the second one. Good shit. Good game.
Cool. So I mean, that's exactly a minute right there, as you can see right here. Exactly 1 minute with 4 zeros after it. 1 minute, 0 seconds, and 0 frames. So that right there is sufficient enough for an Instagram video without having to make it IGTV. So, you know, that being said, that's essentially how you put together a video. I mean, it doesn't have to be as advanced as this. It doesn't have to look exactly like this. It can look much simpler than this. You can literally, like I said earlier, just take clips, drop it onto music, and a lot of times it works because that's just how it goes, especially when you're dealing with action like this. And if you have like a good track with some good action, you'll be able to easily line that stuff up and just nudge it a little bit here and there and make it work. Really, the hardest part is making it fit into 1 minute. That's the hardest part. But if you can start to figure out how to do that, then you have yourself a good solid 1 minute content. And that type of stuff is extremely valuable to you know, anybody who's looking for that kind of stuff. Obviously, you don't have to do exactly 1 minute. A lot of times you don't. I mean, especially with TikTok being such short videos and stuff like that, like you can easily bust out some of these videos, put 2 or 3 clips together, and that can be 15 to 30 seconds easily. But in this particular situation, I wanted to do a 1 minute video. and I'll show you how to export these and what the workflow is on that. So if we're going to first of all save. Now notice that I haven't been saving much, and the reason why is because we did the autosave feature earlier on. And when you do autosave, what you do is when you set all those like we did at the beginning, those folders, you go to your project, you go to autosave, and in here there's a ton of different autosave files, and that's if you get yourself in a pinch. Let's say your computer crashes or something happens to where you're screwed. You just go to essentially you go to your excuse me, you go to your most recent file, and you can figure that out by this right here. An easy way of doing that is to go to this, and then you can date modified, and you can go to date modified, and then find today at 10:07 p.m., which right now it's 10:08 p.m. here in California. So you can do it that way, and then just open it up, and boom, you're good to go. Or you can obviously be safe about it if you want. If you're a paranoid person, boom, file save, Command S, whatever you need to do. And then what you do at that point is you go to export the video. So when you go File, Export, Media. If that was too fast for you, I apologize. I'll show you one more time. So you're going to go File. Like I said, you can't really see that up here, but it is up here. If you're on a computer, File's right up here. Oh, my screen is in the way, so let me actually change this to that. File, Export, then Media. You click on that, or you can hit Command M. That works as well. And then what you'll see here is a bunch of buttons and doohickeys and everything that are going to be super scary to you, but trust me, they're not that scary. What you'll do here is you'll want to make sure that this is the format. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this. What I do is just go straight to H.264. What H.264 is a codec that basically keeps the quality very high, and it keeps your file size not that high, which is good for stuff like social media and such, and if you want to like send stuff off to people, they're not going to be huge files. So H.264, your preset, don't even mess with this, honestly. Like there's a certain situation that you do need to mess with this, but for what we're doing, we don't, and I can get into that later. But just leave this as it is because it's going to be custom at this point. You can skip all the rest of this stuff. If you go to your width and your height, that's 1920 by 1080. Basically, it is the size of your phone if you were to look at your phone this way, or any TV or whatever. So 1920 by 1080 is what it is right now. And then if you scroll down past all this stuff that's not even clickable, it's not even highlighted, the next thing that you're going to look at is your bitrate settings. So what I always do, and this is very important, this is why people ask me all the time, Jake, how do you get your videos to look so clean on Instagram? Because a lot of times Instagram and Facebook will demolish the quality on your videos. What I do is I have my bitrate encoder be VBR2 pass. It's normally defaults to 1 pass, but since I already exported this at one point, I have it to 2 pass. VBR2 pass, and this also normally defaults to like a 10 bitrate per second. So your target bitrate per second is normally right around 10. I always just bump, especially if it's just going to be a 1 minute like Instagram video. You'll see right here the estimated size is 86 megabits, right? Or megabytes. That's pretty low. If you jack this all the way up to 50, it's 377 megabytes. That is not that much. And you can easily get that on your phone. You can easily upload that very quickly. You're not going to have any problems with that. So that being said, those are really the main things that you're going to use as your export settings. So just to kind of go back, you're going to go format H.264. You're going to go, I skipped a point, but we're going to get to that in a moment, and that's your output name. You're going to go all the way down. Obviously, you're going to make sure it's 1920 by 1080, which it normally always will be. If it's not for whatever reason, you can just click this button, match source, and it'll make it 1920 by 1080 because it'll match the source of your sequence, the timeline that you created. And then you go to VBR 2-pass, bump that up to 50, and from there, all you got to do is go up to your output name, and this is your path to where your video is going to go once you export it. So click that, and when you click that, this is going to pop up. We'll go to the file folder that we created earlier called lesson number 1, and we're going to go to project, and in project what I do is I create a new folder. I make this folder called exports. Create that, and then I save this as, I'm gonna call this COD highlights, and then I'll say October 11th, so 10-11. Save. Now we have everything locked and loaded. All we gotta do, export. So we export that. I'm not going to do the whole export process right now because honestly it jacks up my feed when I start exporting this, and it should only take maybe 5 minutes or so to export. But once we have that exported, then what you'll do is you'll go to your exports and you'll see in here, which is this video right here, you'll see in there that your file will be in here. And then you can open this. I'll open it up full screen. You can open this up. Where is full screen? Am I tripping? Oh, there it goes.
Inside, they're inside.
And then now you have your file right here. Boom, good to go. Anyways, for the most part, that is essentially how you make a video, you guys. It obviously is. I always look at video editing in Premiere or even Final Cut Pro or Avid or any legit editing software, and there's a million free ones you can get. There's a million ones that you can get on your phone, essentially, but I look at them as like a swimming pool. So like you have your shallow end, you have your deep end. You can do the shallow end, which is, like I said, just take a bunch of clips, put them together, throw some music down, and call it a video. That's a good solid shallow end way of doing things for sure. But if you were to go through and really dive into the deep end, you can really get some really, really cool things going. So like even on, if we go back to, you know, the project that we did here, it's essentially the same video. So we have, this is the video. Excuse me. This is the video, right?
Inside, they're inside.
You know, we got this as the video. But if we wanted to get a little bit funkier and not have to just throw this joint on there, we can create this, which is a little bit more IG friendly because it's a square. It's not as distracting because it doesn't have all the borders like you're looking at right now here on Twitch. It's got a cool little logo in here, has a cool little border, and it fits a lot nicer onto like an Instagram feed. So if we watch this,
Inside, they're inside.
One more, need one more.
you know, you get the gist of it. But you know, we go here. You know, so we have that. So, and you can do that as well in here. That's another lesson for another day on how to do that. And it's not much harder to do what I just showed you either. It's just as simple as taking the same project, copy and pasting it and resizing it and throwing a cool little border on it, which is actually really easy to do as well. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially it, is just going through here and doing that. If any of you guys have Premiere Pro, like I said earlier, what you can do is you can go to you can go to where is it at? Why is this not popping up? Oh, that's why. You can go to my page, same name, Trust to Shoot on Instagram. Click on link, the Linktree link that I have here. Go to Twitch editing material, and in here you'll have an option to be able to download all the clips and music that I use for this video, to be able to do it yourself. On another lesson, I'll tell you guys how to gather clips, how to create clips, and I might even be able to give you guys some homework to go around and shoot around some stuff, and then ultimately we can put your guys' footage into a video. Like I said, I'll be here every Sunday doing this, and I'll have something new every week as well. It's not going to be the same thing over and over again, and I just want to have fun with it. I just want to be able to create. I want to be able to teach people, like I said, and challenge people to get to another level in life, because that's what I try to do, and that's what I try to keep people around me doing, because that's how we grow. But that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your night. Hang out a little bit later if you want to watch some more Call of Duty. Take care. What's up, everybody? Have you ever wanted to create content like this? I've got an extremely exciting announcement to make, and that's that I have my very own Twitch channel. I'm going to be on there Sunday nights, Wednesday nights, and Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. I'm not just going to be on there gaming, though, even though I love my sports games, I love my shooters, I love my RPGs, I love my retro games. On Sunday nights at 8:30, I'm going to be teaching you guys everything that there is to know about video editing. Everything that I've learned in the last 20 years, I'll be able to provide to you guys. And I'm not only going to be creating content based off of video games, I'm also going to be deconstructing some of my favorite videos that I've shot and edited myself, so you'll be able to learn from that as well. Come through, you never know who's going to pop in, and I might even have a couple giveaways to throw out there once in a while. So comment down below your favorite video game of all time, and then head over to Twitch to follow my page. It's Trust to Shoot, where not only will you have fun checking out some games, but you'll also learn something. Alright guys, I'll see you soon.